What is good, Raider Nation? It's your boy Raider Alex back with yet another video for you guys. Anybody that is new to the channel, you guys love Raider related content just like this, make sure to like, comment, subscribe to the channel. That being said, let's jump right into the topic of this video. Let's dive into the latest topic surrounding the NFL this week, and that is the fact of whether or not the Raiders should make a move for star veteran cornerback Jaire Alexander. The star cornerback was just released by the Green Bay Packers yesterday, and this dude is now floating on the waiver wire, and the Raiders currently are sitting with approximately $36 million in cap space per spot track, and it is definitely worth asking the question of whether or not the Raiders should add him to bolster this secondary group for the defense. So when it comes to Jaire Alexander, let's focus on the good, let's focus on the pros, on what he could potentially bring to this football team. Now first, he's no slouch when he is on the football field. When he is locked in, when he can be out there on the field, the guy is a two-time Pro Bowler, a two-time All-Pro, and he had a lockdown season in 2022. And he's definitely a player, still 28 years of age, not super old. So he still definitely gives you that upside to be a true shutdown cornerback one, which currently at this given moment, the Raiders do not have on this roster. At 28, he's still young enough to produce, and his coverage skills are really good. Since 2022, he produced a 99th percentile PFF coverage grade with 8 interceptions and 21 pass breakups, and this is with him missing games throughout the past 3 years. And the Raiders secondary group last season, they definitely struggled. They posted the worst NFL coverage grade at 30.4. So safe to say that the Raiders cornerback room struggled last season. We also let go of some guys like Nate Hobbs this offseason. And just in general, you look at this cornerback room for the Raiders, it's super young. It definitely does have a lot of upside though, with Jacorian Bennett, with Darion Porter, also even with a guy like DeCamerion Richardson. But really none of them scream as an elite talent at the cornerback position, as a bona fide #1 cornerback in the National Football League. At least not yet. They're still young. They could potentially develop into that, but with us having such a young cornerback group, bringing in a proven veteran like Jaire Alexander could be interesting. The Raiders cornerback room in general is really green, and a guy like Jaire Alexander could bring a lot of experience. The Raiders cornerback room is very green, and a guy like Jaire Alexander could bring a lot of experience and could help mentor Jacorian Bennett, Darion Porter, and potentially DeCamerion Richardson as well, while also potentially locking down one side of the field, being that true shutdown corner. Now, Pete Carroll, the Raiders head coach, helped build that Legion of Boom defense with the Seattle Seahawks, so he definitely knows a thing or two about identifying talent at the defensive back position and getting the most out of them. Pete Carroll has a good reputation for handling big personalities, and with a guy like Jaire Alexander, he's a feisty, competitive player, and is a guy that could bring a lot of swagger to the Raiders defensive back room. Now, with the Raiders being in a good position with the cap salary, I think this is definitely something to consider. If the Raiders could sign him to a short-term, low-risk type of contract, I'm thinking about a 1-year deal, maybe $7 to $10 million, right around there, just to kind of see if he'd be a good fit, and most importantly, to see whether or not he can stay healthy for a full regular season. Because when it comes to Jaire Alexander, to me, that is the biggest red flag at this stage of the game. That is his injuries. That's where things definitely get dicey, because his injury history as of late has not been good. He has missed 34 games over the last 4 seasons. The last 2 seasons alone, he has missed 19 games. So that's a lot of time on the sidelines for a guy who's supposed to be Green Bay's #1 cornerback. That's ultimately why they ended up letting him go. And it has been a little while since his last truly dominant season in 2022. The Raiders this offseason just got rid of a really talented nickel cornerback in Nate Hobbs, and one of the biggest reasons was because he was missing time on the field due to injury. So that is definitely something to take into consideration with Jaire Alexander. He brings the same risk, if not more, when it comes to his chances of missing time. So the Raiders can't really afford to sink a lot of cap space into a player that might spend half the season on the sidelines. So that's something to definitely take into consideration. Now, if they want to take a flyer on him, if he's open to taking a sort of prove-it deal coming out here, I would love it. But I'm definitely hesitant on whether or not they should commit long-term to him, especially with that kind of injury history. It definitely is a gamble that the Raiders may not want to take. Now, another guy that's been flowing around for, a while now at this point in the offseason, another star veteran quarterback, and that is Jaylen Ramsey. A lot of people have been talking about whether or not the Raiders should make the move to try to get Jaylen Ramsey. He's a player that's been linked to the Raiders several different times in the past. At one point, he did want to join the Silver and Black, but it just never came to fruition. Now, the biggest thing with Jaylen Ramsey, though, is unlike Jaire Alexander, he is still under contract, so you're not going to be able to just sign him up front. You're going to have to trade for him, and also very likely he's not going to come cheap to you. He is 31 years of age. He's a 3-time All-Pro. He's still solid. He had 11 pass breakups and 2 interceptions in 2024 with an 83.2 passer rating, but his price tag is steep. He is set to make $21 million in 2025, which most of it will be guaranteed. So not only are you going to give up draft capital, you're also going to have to very likely pay a good amount for him, depending on how the Dolphins work out that whole contract situation. And also for a guy who's already, in his 30s, I personally think, you're going to get a guy that's in the back end of his prime. Jaylen Ramsey, he could definitely be an upgrade, help this Raiders secondary group, but personally, I question whether or not he still has what it takes to be a true cornerback 1. And if you're going to trade for a guy like him, he has to give you cornerback 1 type of production for it to be worth the cost. So personally for me, this is a much tougher sell than Jaire Alexander. At least with Jaire Alexander, you have the chance to potentially get a low risk, high upside type of signing, a shorter term type of contract. It's just all going to depend on what type of contract he is looking for, what are his options currently, and whether or not he'd be willing to join the Silver and Black. Now, overall, I do not mind the idea of the Raiders exploring names and options at the cornerback spot. I do like the young guys we have at the cornerback position, but for one, we do need a little bit more depth at the cornerback spot. And honestly, it would not hurt to bring in a veteran to kind of bring some experience that might help the development of these young guys. But, I definitely think we should invest in Jacorian Bennett and Darian Porter to potentially be the future of this defensive back room. Jacorian Bennett is still recovering from an injury, but when he was out there, he did look good. But he's also a guy that, 2 years in the league, he's been injured in both of those years. So that's definitely why I think we should bring in more help at the defensive back room. But honestly, when it comes to the cornerback room, I kind of think we need to go after and bring in a nickel cornerback, because I definitely see that being a hole at this point for the Raiders defense. There's really nobody on this roster at the nickel cornerback spot that gives me confidence that they can go out there and do the job. And it's also another position where we are going to need some depth. Personally, I would really hope that the Raiders seriously consider going after a veteran like cornerback Mike Hilton. When it comes to the nickel cornerback spot, I think he's one of the best options left out there. He's a guy that has plenty of experience at the nickel cornerback spot. He's a physical cornerback. He is great against the run, pretty solid in pass coverage, and he's been pretty healthy throughout his career, only missing 4 games in the past 3 seasons. Now, he might be a guy that, commands somewhere around the $8 million range, but I definitely think it would be worth it. The nickel cornerback spot is very important in today's NFL. So honestly, it would not be a bad idea for the Raiders to get another player at the outside cornerback position and also the nickel cornerback spot. Should the Raiders pursue Jaire Alexander? To me, it's only worth it if you can get him on a short-term contract. I would definitely take the gamble in that sense. With $36 million in cap space, we do have the money to take a little gamble on something like that. And he's a player that if he can come anywhere close to that 2022 form that he had, he would be a great addition to this defense. Now, personally, I would pass on a guy like Jaylen Ramsey. He's older. It's going to cost more. You're going to have to very likely give up draft capital as well. And I just feel like at 31 years of age, his best years are behind him. I would personally stay away from something like that. Honestly, I think the nickel cornerback position is a little bit more of a bigger need at this point in time when it comes to the outside cornerback position. But it is interesting to see what will happen with Jaire Alexander, and overall too, with training camp being right around the corner for most teams. We will see if there is any more veteran cuts that are made from other teams, guys that could potentially be a fit for this team, and guys that we could potentially kick the tires on moving forward. But Raider Nation, let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Do you think Jaire Alexander is a player worth getting for the Raiders? Let me know in that comment section down below. But with that being said, Raider Nation, that is all for you guys in today's video. Anybody that is new to the channel, you guys love Raider related content just like this, make sure to like, comment, subscribe to the channel. That being said, I will see you guys in the next one.